Welcome back to a Munchausen's Proxy, where we have been simply amazed by news from overseas that the mainstream media assured us could never be the case. Added on top of that, it is yet another symptom of the reign of stupidity at the Walt Disney Company. Earlier this summer, controversy erupted at the box office as a little-known movie from a no-name studio opened in limited release. Almost as soon as the mainstream media and access media got wind of what the movie was about, the troops were marshaled against the film. Mainstream news outlets were declaring it QAnon propaganda and right-wing wet dreams in film format. Access media refused to review the movie, claiming they would not deign give such filth the added publicity their reviews granted to those films they deemed real art. And as such storms are wont to do, this one attracted the attention of attention whores in politics and elsewhere, who promptly joined the impromptu weenie roast. Alas, the flaccidity of the mainstream and access media's power has been evident for a while now. In the case of The Sound of Freedom, that impotence was never more obvious. Cue the Streisand effect. The road to the box office for The Sound of Freedom was a tortured one, having started as a project greenlit by 21st Century Fox. It was to be a movie about a former Homeland Security agent, Tim Ballard, who founded the nonprofit organization Operation Underground Railroad to fight U.S.-based person trafficking rings. And I say it like that because YouTube and other social media companies dislike when you use the proper name for people who sell other people, especially kids, for the purposes of forced copulation, shall we say. Why are they protected? Good question. But I digress. The movie was to have a $14.5 million budget and star Jim Caviezel of The Passion of the Christ and The Count of Monte Cristo fame. It was that latter role that endeared him to Tim Ballard, who requested Caviezel be cast in the lead role. Filming began in the summer of 2018, with most of the movie being shot in Cartagena, Colombia, and additional scenes filmed in Calexico, California. Filming was done before the end of the year, and 21st Century Fox was going to distribute the movie through their Latin American subsidiary. However, before that could happen, the Walt Disney Company won the bidding war with Comcast over the right to buy the entertainment wing of News Corp, 20th Century Fox. Disney completed the deal in March of 2019 and, for reasons, promptly shelved The Sound of Freedom. Seeing their hope of getting the movie released by Disney going up in smoke, the filmmakers bought the rights for the movie back from Disney. Eduardo Verástegui, the producer, sought a company to distribute the movie and found Angel Studios. Angel Studios presented the film to their group of investors and quickly came back with a firm yes on the idea of buying distribution rights. Using crowdfunding, Angel raised the money needed to distribute and market the film, and word quickly spread about the travails the movie experienced on the way to theaters. Smartly, on July 4th, 2023, The Sound of Freedom finally saw daylight as it made its premiere, grossing $41.6 million in its debut week. Word of mouth grew, and the second week box office numbers actually increased instead of falling off, as is usual for most movies. More theaters were added, and by July 26th, Angel Studios began planning international distribution to 23 countries. Which is where we come to my point at the beginning about the media and the rampant stupidity at the Walt Disney Company under current management of both the executive suites and on the board of directors. Because remember, the media told all and sundry that this movie was conspiracy theory nonsense and right-wing propaganda and not really a piece of art. As a matter of fact, one of the better reviews for the film by the mainstream media came from Owen Gleiberman, who snidely opined, quote, Let's assume that, like me, you're not a right-wing fundamentalist conspiracy theorist looking for a dark, faith-based suspense film to see over the holiday weekend. Even then, you don't need to hold extreme beliefs to experience Sound of Freedom as a compelling movie that shines an authentic light on one of the crucial criminal horrors of our time, one that Hollywood has mostly shied away from." Unquote. And Disney did all they could to make sure the film was ignored when they got their hands on it after buying 21st Century Fox. To date, however, and on a $14.5 million budget, remember, The Sound of Freedom has raked in over $210 million worldwide, enough to probably make it the most profitable movie of this year, if not for the last few years. And most of the world has not even seen it premiere yet. It just opened internationally a little under 2 weeks ago and hit more of Europe this week. Many of the countries it opened in are in Latin America. Now, if you take the mainstream and access media seriously and believe they know what they are talking about, Latin America should find this film very offensive, maybe even racist. It opened number 1 in New Zealand and came in second in Australia and South Africa, and 4th in the United Kingdom. However, in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Belize, Paraguay, Chile, Uruguay, Argentina, and the Dominican Republic, they seem to not get the memo that they should view this movie with offense and indignation because it topped the box office in every single one of those countries. To make the media look even more retarded than they already usually do, every single Central American nation is on that list. If you have a functioning brain and anything resembling morals, there should be nothing in what The Sound of Freedom is presenting to make you think there is something sinister in the film. It is about an American Homeland Security agent attempting to dismantle a munchkin trading ring in Colombia. And given the people in Latin America suffer under the threat of these rings as a part of life in greater or lesser extent depending on country, it is not really surprising that a movie about someone trying to do something about stopping such human filth would find a fertile audience. It says probably more than they would like the masses to hear about what kind of people are in Hollywood and the media. People who tried and failed to squash this movie. Prominent critics such as Grace Randolph outright refused to even go see this movie, her voice throbbing with her outrage at such an idea. It does make you wonder why. Why this movie? The funny side to the story is that the movie Hollywood and the media actually wanted those in Latin America to see, Blue Beetle, has only made a little more than half of the Sound of Freedom's box office take. And that was with a $120 million budget and way more marketing. As a matter of fact, The Sound of Freedom has also beaten Shazam, beat the domestic take of Black Adam, and is closing in on The Flash's $268 million gross. It is a testament to both the legs of Sound of Freedom and the absolute disaster that DC has been at the box office since even before James Gunn nuked the DCEU. But that is the topic of another video, which I am working on. I've decided to do it differently than what I planned before my computer vomited all of my documents into a black hole, thereby requiring me to start over on a video I was nearly done writing. Look for the first installment of that one soon. That is all for this video, however. If you like what I do here, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and comment down below. It is all appreciated. Until next time, tschüss.